All right, well, welcome everybody to the client support webinar for Wednesday, and today is the 19th of September 2023. Great to be here. Let me know how the audio is during the presentation. If it gets a little funky, I'll cut the webcam off.
Hey, Ben.
Cut the webcam on. Yes.
Okay, so it's actually April 19th.
What did I say it was?
I think September.
Oh,
we're thinking forward.
Thinking, I guess.
We are forward thinkers. Yes, indeed.
Well, thank you for being Johnny on the spot, correcting me there. All right, so let me restart that. It's April 19th, 2023. All right, so if you have any questions, type them in the questions window. That's in the webinar console there. We got a good turnout today, so thank you for everybody for being here. I want to go over today the scanners and also how to set up the time frames on the scanners in case people are having a hard time with that, as well as field any questions as well. All right, so let me get going here. Let me just go through some of the information I have to go through before we get started, and that, of course, are the risks involved in trading. We want you to be aware of those risks, and always trade with money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. Check with your money manager or financial advisor, whoever controls your money there at home, and make sure anything we talk about here is suitable for you, okay? It's very important because a lot of factors go into certain requirements that you need to think about when trading. One is your age, your net worth, your short-term, long-term financial goals, and things of that nature. So definitely check with that, risk tolerance, things like that. In terms of actually trading and calculating trade size, we deal in a realm of probabilities, not certainties. So past performance doesn't equal future performance. And of course, no trade is guaranteed because of those probabilities. So keep that in mind. You should be able to, or at least you should know how to, at this point, know how to control your risk on each and every trade using trailing stops and proper trade size. We can help you with that. We've got a couple books on money management for traders. Our second from the right is excellent on that. It's a new book I came out with last year. You may want to grab that. And then our second edition of The Art of Trading is also available later this year, but you can pre-order it now. Brand new book. It's going to have a lot of cool stuff in it, so check it out. All right, so as you know, I created software. I've been doing this now for over 30 years. All right, I'm 65 years old, so it's been a while since I've been doing this, and I've created software based on my experience in the markets, what works, what doesn't, and you can check it out on our website as well. All right, so let me come out of here. All right, and I want to really talk about whether you're using TradeStation. I guess I'll talk about Ninja first, and let me just go over to the Ninja platform. And when we talk about the scanning capabilities, what we're talking about is, and I'm going to open this up full size, is the scanner. Okay, so I've got a couple. This is the crypto market, so I got a couple things running here. So you can see that's running. I've also got some micro level things here running. But in anyway, what I do is I create, the tabs now are at the bottom here. I create different tabs for different time frames and styles of trading. Let me know how many people out there kind of do the same thing. One of the biggest complaints you'll find, whether you're using TradeStation, whether you're using multi-charts or NinjaTrader, is that when you load the scanners up with a ton of symbols in one scan, what happens is the bottleneck on how fast the system will load everything when you first start, the bottleneck really is the data, all right, getting all that data into the platform. Now, it amazes me that people will load 500 symbols of the S&P, 100 of the NASDAQ, all the futures, all the cryptos, connect to their data provider, and then use a wireless connection, because the wireless connection is going to be slower than if it's hardwired. So always, if you can, try to hardwire your computer into the internet. And I know sometimes that's not practical, like if you're traveling or things like that. But then what you want to do is, if you're on your laptop and you're connected wirelessly, what I would do is I'd create a tab down here for the NASDAQ, a tab for the S&P 500, and all those large databases that you're loading, close them, all right? Close them, save the platform when you close, so when it opens up, it opens only a modest number of tabs you're scanning for, there, and then you'll load faster. And then once the platform is up and running, then close some of the open tabs you don't want and go to the ones you do want and do it that way. So you'll find that that probably will load a lot faster and a lot cleaner in terms of switching back and forth. Otherwise, you're going to have a wait time on that. It's going to be sluggish, and it's just not going to perform the way you want, especially over a wireless connection. So keep that in mind. And also to the hardware makes a difference. You know, what type of CPU you're using. You know, i5 chips, no good anymore. They're really no good for intense trading. You have to be on an i7 chip. So keep that in mind. Also to memory, you have to have enough memory in your computer to load this stuff. And the same thing with the number of charts you have open. You know, some people will have 30 charts open. And, so, you know, that's a lot of data to load. So again, if you're on wireless and, you know, it's a bottleneck, and it's going to take a long time to load those charts, because don't forget, on those charts, you have indicators and studies running. And so that has to do all the calculations as well. So kind of be smart about that. The other thing too is if you're looking at a 1-minute chart or a 5-minute chart, make sure you're not loading so much history that you don't need it. For example, a 1-minute chart, do you need a year's worth of history? No, okay? Especially TradeStation users have that problem. They tend to load way too much history on the smaller time frames. And again, that's more work for your computer and more work for your internet to get that data, historical data in there. So kind of keep that in mind. Now, the other thing you can do is I also create different tabs for different time frames. So for example, I have a micro futures time tab down here. I also have in another tab an ES, just the E-mini. All right, so I don't load everything necessarily at once. I load what I need, and I think that's important. Now, Jim's asking a great question. How much history should we be loading? So that's going to depend on the time frame. For example, when I look at a weekly chart, I usually load about 5,000 price bars. And when I look at a daily chart, about 1,500 price bars. And when I look at a 60-minute or something, about 1,500. Now, let's go and take a look at that real quick. So for example, here is, let's just take a look at crude oil, get that bad boy up. Let's see if I have my intraday data connected. I might not. Nope. All right. So listen, if you do it this way, show data series, go into show data series. All right, I have 3,000 bars loaded on this. Okay, this is a daily chart. So I use bars because instead of days, because then I can be consistent across the time frames. So in other words, if 3,000 bars do it on a daily chart, then it will do it on a 1-minute. Okay, you can even cut it back a little bit. So I wouldn't go less than 1,500 bars intraday. All right, and then on a daily 3,000. And then let me just make sure I got the weeklies here. Well, let me go to the cryptos here. Just load a crypto here so we can actually take a look at. Okay, so on here, here's the daily chart. So on this one, I got 5,000 price bars. Okay, and then on this one, we looked at this one already. All right, 3,000. And on this one here, which is our shorter term, I have 3,000. Okay, so that's kind of what I do. But the idea is there may be times when you need to load a few more price bars, because I always like to see where the beginning of a trend is. So you just alter that as needed. But you do not need a ton of history on there unless you're doing a long-term chart and going back. You want to go back in time far enough to see the complete picture. And that's okay. You can do that. It's more for your intraday charts that you're going to have trouble. But I set it up as bars. So another thing to note here is that on whatever platform you're using, whether it's NinjaTrader or TradeStation, here's the bars. See how I load the bars? And you can load days, but for example, 1 day of daily chart is going to give you 1 bar. 1 day of a 1 minute chart is going to give you a lot more, right? So I like to use bars to keep things consistent. So good question. Okay, really good question. All right, so let's go back here to the scanner. So when you set up, you got a couple choices here. So when you set up your symbols, all right, and you set your time frame, I want to talk a little bit about that. So go to columns. Columns in the scanner is the same thing as indicators are on the chart. They just call it columns because the columns represent the studies you're loading in the market analyzer in TradeStation. So if we go there, it opens up something called the columns. Well, it looks just like the indicators when you look at a chart. You got the available ones up here, and you bring those down here, okay? Then you put them down there. All right, so these are the ones you have loaded. Now, here's where Ninja is a little different than TradeStation. All right, so a couple things I like to do. I like to load the instrument. I like to load the description. I put little notes in there because sometimes it's helpful for me to know. I might put the, you know, if I have a note like maybe on some of the futures, I'm not really sure what the tick size is. I can put that in there if it's futures, or if it's stocks, I can put a little note in there, you know, watch this one carefully or something like that. So I like to have the notes in there. You can put the last price in there, and then I load the studies. All right. Now, when you come to the studies, let's just go through them a little bit. So for example, the trade confirmer here, all right, has the OWL, PTF, and TLM loaded as the trade confirmer column. And then under here, the OWL, PTF, and TLM. So you need to go into each study to set the time. And notice on this study here, the time is set today. And so the same thing with the OWL and all the particular situations you got looking at it. So the OWL, all right, same thing, set today. PTF, set today. TLM, set today. So you need to check those. If you want to scan the daily charts, that's how you would set it, okay? OWL, Elliott Wave, and Turbo Scanner. So make sure that they're all set properly to the time frame. And then once they are, then you could save that scan. And if you want to leave the symbols out, you just save it to, for example, let's just say I wanted to save this as a template. So I save it, and then I create the name of the template. And since it's a daily scan, all right, if this is a generic scan, meaning no symbols, all right, I might just say daily time frame scan, okay? And then save the instruments, okay? If you want to. Now, if you save the instruments, then I would say, all right, cryptos daily scans and something like that. So you can create a generic one or a specific one, depending on what you're doing. And then if, for example, on the micros here, you know, the contracts change all the time, but these are the contracts we like to trade in the day trading room. So I like to go to here, to go to columns, all right, and then go ahead and set them to the 1 minute and save this as micro futures 1 minute, okay? And that's how I do it. So if I wanted just a generic scan, then I would just save this as a template without symbols and say my 1 minute scan, okay? So there's lots of different ways you can do it. Lots of different ways in which you can do it. And that's kind of a neat thing to know how to do, because then you can have templates for each type of scan you like to do, and you can also actually have the symbols too. Now, when Mark, our installer, installs you, he usually does it in a generic way. He usually will do it daily scans, but that's how you can go in and you could actually load his template using dailies and then manually just go click on the columns and then go to the studies and change the time frame from, let's say, from day to minute, or to daily, or to weekly, depending on the time, or 5 minutes, okay, depending on the scan you want to do it. So he gives you the basic template, usually on the daily time frame, unless you told him to do it otherwise. And that's how it works. And then you can go in and customize that any which way you want. Okay. So that's the kind of thing. So there it is. So yeah, I usually choose, Jim is asking, I notice you're a set price change rather than bar close. I usually choose bar close, like when I'm day trading. I like to always do it bar close. The only one that doesn't do bar close is the turbo scanner. So if you're set to bar close, use bar close, okay? That's the way you need to have it set up. All right, turbo scanner doesn't matter. Some people actually prefer it each tick. I prefer it to bar close. So you can experiment and see which way you like better. But I like to basically have the bar close before I have a determination on it. But that's me. All right, so, and then you can create, I got one for the indexes, okay? Here's the indexes. I got one for gaming ETFs, a couple in there. I got real estate ETFs. So you cryptos, okay? Watch lists. So you can do a lot of different things with this and be very creative in how you set it up to make it as easy as you want, okay? Okay, good. Let me just see what else is here. All right, Stephen is saying something, just so you know what's been going on. I don't know what you mean by that, because I don't see any other reference to that. So let me know, Stephen, what you mean. Okay. Oh, you're speaking to Gene. Okay. All right.
Steve and I have been texting back and forth, so that's what he's talking about.
I got it. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so that's kind of the deal with that. And if we bring up TradeStation now, it does it a little differently. All right, so you have to kind of realize every platform is going to do things differently. All the coding for all our software is exactly the same from platform to platform. If it cannot be done, it is not coded. For example, let's see, what was that platform? Metastock, okay? Metastock could not program pyramids. Can't be done because they have certain limitations in their program. So we can't program for that. Okay, we cannot program for that. So we don't program. So certain platforms, if they don't accept our code verbatim, then we don't program for it because we want all the coding to be exactly the same from platform to platform. Now, if you notice different signals from time to time than what I'm showing, it's either the data is different, and it can be different, especially on the intraday charts, all right, or your start times and end times are differently than ours, okay? So that can happen. We usually use exchange hours, okay, as a primary situation. All right, now, on the scanner, which is up here, as you can see, and I'll open this up a little bit further. See if I can open that. Okay, there it is. So here's the scanner working here. And on TradeStation, you have the interval column right here that shows you the daily. Okay, but you can change those. And you can change them, I believe, for all of them. All right, it's a little tricky. I think you got to go to data. Let me just see. Oh, I think it might be even symbol. Might be, oh, here it is. Okay, data. Let's try that. I don't want to add a symbol list. Looking for these. So let's see, settings. Oh, time frame. Okay, it's right there, right in front of my eyes. All right, so you can change those on those, okay, by going in each one. all right, and highlighting them. So that's how you change it a little differently. Now, if you want to look at certain time frames like the daily, the 60-minute, or whatever, you may want to just create different tabs for those as well. Or you can create the same symbol multiple times on one radar screen to indicate the different time frames. So there's a lot of customization you can do with these things. Okay. All right. So just different ways you can do stuff on all of them. And you got to do what's comfortable for you. Okay. That type of thing. Yeah, silver is on our more report buy list. Stephen, if you're not a more subscriber, you should definitely be there if you're interested in stock picks. All right, our stock picks have really done well. All right, so yeah, let me take a look at WPM. We're gonna look at that. All right, so WPM, and what do you want me to tell you about it? Are you long? Are you thinking of going long? Are you short? What are you doing with these two? Thinking of going long. Okay, so a couple things here. All right, long position's not a bad way to go. All right, you definitely have the indicators for the most part bullish. My only concern here of going long is we've had this nice leg run up from March up until recently. Last 5 days, we've been in a pullback. So what I do is I like to, using multiple time frame analysis, I like to look at the 60-minute chart to see where we are in this pullback. And we've got a green PTF. So after the pullback, we're going to go higher. So I'm not concerned about it not going higher. What I'm concerned about is where is the pullback going to be? That's more of a concern. So what I would do on this, and this is why I love multiple time frame analysis, is let's study this move up a little bit. We've got a red owl. So let's go ahead and draw the retracements in. All right. So it could pull back to about $47 to $44, a few points. So if I was looking to go long, we got an MP, so we got a correction established. We've got a red PTF. This can stay green during the entire wave 4 pullback, so something like a 3, 4, 3 there. Notice how long the owl was there too. So probably after the pullback, we're going higher. Okay, so that's the deal. The problem is that when you get in late is where do you put your stop? Because you want to have a decent trade size, right? So that creates a problem. Now, if we look on the daily chart, we got a pyramid sitting here, right? So let's bring up the data box and take a look at that and see where that pyramid stop is. So that stop has a low of 48.41, right? So 48.41 is a little higher than the fib retracement. So I don't think I would want to put my stop there. I probably want to put it a little lower, like 44.19. But my feeling is, why go in now at all? Why don't you wait and see for the correction and go in better down here? And if it only gets to here, but then the owl turns green, then you go then on the 60-minute chart. So by using multiple time frame analysis, which is all 3 time frames, we're able to zero in a little bit better on the entry. There's no question in my mind that this is going to go higher. But what we're trying to do is get you in at the best possible price so you can set also your stop at the bottom of the pullback. Okay, it makes life a lot easier. All right, and you may miss it once or twice, but usually not. If it goes into that target zone and that owl turns green, you'll be in good shape. All right, so that is WPM. All right, PAAS. Let's take a look at that bad boy. All right, so I'm assuming you're probably thinking of a long position here. Okay, the weekly chart says long position's good. Look at the PTF. Also, too, we just turned green and we just had a minor pyramid here. We still have an active P here. Okay, so it's a little bit more risky, but certainly a good possible entry on the long-term chart. However, thanks to multiple time frame analysis, let's take a look a little bit more. Notice we have the red PTF here. So that's showing that this here there's a 75% probability based on that indicator, we're going to go below that low. So that's a problem, okay, of going long now. So I either am going to wait until we get down here and this turns yellow, which we hope it will. All right, that means that you have more of a chance of a significant bottom. And then look for the owl after it goes red to go green again, that type of thing. And you can see the pullback underway on this chart here. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So I would kind of wait on this one, okay? I don't think I would go in. Do I think after it makes a low or this, if this abruptly turns green, then you can go long, but this is how you use the tools properly to time the trade on multiple time frame analysis. And this is why you have to have the right tools, okay? Otherwise, you know, you're kind of guessing at the market. So I would hold off on this one, all right? I think eventually it'll be a good long trade, just needs to come down a little bit. So maybe it'll get down to maybe 13 or 14. And then maybe we'll look at it again at that point, okay? Cool? Oh, my pleasure. You know, whenever we look at a market, it also gives you a chance to see the analysis. And that's kind of, you know, a good thing to talk about during the client support. So, you know, it's a good thing to do. Education in itself. All right, let me just see if there's any more questions. We're coming up on the end of the half hour here. I like to keep these about half an hour. I know everybody's busy during the trading day, so we don't like to go over too much. But I also want to make sure I do answer everybody's questions. All right. So if you're using a trial of the software, you know, we now have trials. You can take a 30-day trial for $399 and you get all the software. And if you don't have a compatible charting platform, you can download and use NinjaTrader for free. It will set you all up, all right? And you can test the software on any market you want. The only thing is, you know, if you're using a broker that's compatible with Ninja, then you could probably get the intraday charts in there. Otherwise, Ninja will give you free end of day data so you can test the software on daily and weekly charts and see how you like it. So that's definitely something to think about. If you're using Thinkorswim and you want to test the software on NinjaTrader, well, you can import the TD Ameritrade data right into Ninja and use that for intraday analysis. Okay, so a lot of possibilities. If you're using futures, you have to use a futures broker that's compatible with Ninja or the futures data. Okay, a lot of people use barchart.com too for that as well. So a lot of options for you. All right, Jean, take it for a minute. I got to answer this call.
Hello, everyone. Well, good to see everybody here. And James, I know you're on the trial now, so that's great. Do you have any questions that are going on that you've been great coming to the client support every week, but let me know if you have any questions. And a lot of you folks I see in the room already have the ART software. If you'd like Bennett to demonstrate any strategies on that, that would be great as well.
Okay, I'm back.
I think Bennett's back. Here we go.
Quick call. Expecting a delivery, so I had to take that call. You know how that goes. You miss the call, they don't deliver, that type of thing. So, all right. So any other questions? All right. Hopefully this was helpful to everybody. Gina, hopefully I didn't cut you off. I'm not sure if you were done saying what you were saying.
No. I was just saying to James, I know he's on the trial and he's been great coming here every week for client support. So he's learning how to use the software. He's saying his question was partially covered on the bars.
Yeah, we don't like partially covered. We don't, Jim, we don't like partially covered.
All right.
So what do you mean? Did I or did I not answer your question? What do you think? No partially covered answers. We either answer or we don't. Maybe you didn't like my answer. I don't know, but I thought I answered it. So if I didn't answer it, please be specific, okay? In what I didn't answer.
I think he's probably typing as we speak.
Okay, good. Well, I'll keep the room open until he's finished with that.
Yeah, and then
Any
a lot
other
of
questions.
I was saying a lot of other folks that are in the room, I'm noticing, all have the art software. So maybe you could even kind of give a little demo of art for a couple minutes, and then I think unless Jim has more questions, we are probably good.
All right, well, anything specific on the art software, Gene, that I should do?
Not specifically, but it looks like James gave us the rest of his question.
Okay, so on the 1 minute price bar, okay, let's go back to that, all right, and show you here kind of what I'm using on that. So this is what I use, all right, and when I do the day trading, I use this because I'm comfortable looking. Usually what I try to do, Jim, is pick enough prices so I get a decent look at the chart I'm looking at. So if 1500 bars loads your charts faster and you can see enough information, that's fine. I use 3000, okay? So I use 3000 on the 1 minute. And notice this is pretty much the same for the dailies too, because it's price bars, not days. On the 5 minute, I'm using 3000, okay? Now you can go to 5000, either or, and on this, I use 3000. So why don't you just try 3000 across the board, okay? You'll be fine with 3000. You don't want to use under 1500. I'd recommend not doing that, okay? So try to keep it at 3000, okay? Now I have some people that like to use more price bars, okay? And sometimes, if I'm looking at a weekly chart and 3000 is not enough because I can't see the beginning of the trend, then I will add more price bars on, okay? So let me just show you a little bit about what I mean. If you have a move here that goes down and it's bottoming, and then you have a big move up, all right, and then you have a little bit of a move down and another big move up, all right. If you don't have enough price bars to go at least down to the bottom and at least better to get a good picture, so if 3000 price bars only takes you to here, then add another, go back as far as you can to see where that big bottom on this big move up started. That's the key. Okay, that's the key. I think you'll find most of the time the 3000 price bars will catch that bottom and then you'll be okay. But it doesn't hurt to go back further in time to make sure you're looking at the entire move, because that can affect also where you draw your fibs in, right? Okay. Okay. And then on the scanners, what you want to do on the scanners is at least have 600 price bars. The scanners do not require the 3000 because it's going to look back infinite amount anyway. So all you have to have at least 600 price bars. Now, if you have a chart that has 500 price bars, then the scans and the chart are going to be different. So as long as you have 600 price bars on the chart, the scans will match the charts. And by using 3000 across the board, you're good to go. Keeps it simple. And again, let me give you one more example. If you're looking at a bottom here and you're moving up here and your 3000 bars only show this, well, this isn't a bottom. Okay, you want to increase the scans until you find the bottom. Not the scans, increase the charts until you find the bottom. So that's one of the things I think people usually miss is they tend to look at a chart and not go back far enough to find the bottom. And usually 3000 bars work, but sometimes you need more. So I'm glad you answered that question in a generic way in terms of not being specific enough, because hopefully now you kind of understand the methodology on that. Steve saying I just drew the COVID bottom on October 22. Oh, great job. Yeah, funny, huh? All right. Okay, good. Good. Okay. Jim, you did it again. I'm good, I think. Are you good or not good? Just giving you a hard time. I think you're good now. Okay, good. Got to try it. Well, try it and you'll see what I mean. Just remember, always find the bottom. And if you're in a downtrend, always find the top. Okay. And use whatever number of price bars you need to use to find that, but always more than 600. Minimum 600, maximum as much as your computer can handle without behaving slowly. All right, good session today. All right, a lot of good questions. Anybody else have one last minute question? Going once, going twice. Now the recordings of this are all hosted in our YouTube page. I think I mentioned that before, so I think you're pretty good on that. But it's an unlisted area in YouTube. So if you just go to YouTube and type in our website, our YouTube channel rather, you won't find it. You have to access it through the special link that's in the client VIP area. And you can bookmark that once you have it, okay? So you don't always have to log back in. All right, I think we're good. All right, Jeannie, any last minute things you want to add?
No, just everybody have a great day.
There you go. All right, likewise. Okay, so we'll see you back here next week. Any questions that come up during the week, write them down, bring them back. Okay, thanks so much, everybody, and have a good one.